You're in the most important meeting of the quarter. The room is full of people you respect and people who control your future. A problem is presented. You see the solution. You've done the research. You know the answer. You wait for a pause, raise your hand, and speak. The words hang in the air for a moment. The room goes silent. And then, nothing. Someone nods politely. Maybe a, interesting point, and the conversation moves on, completely bypassing your idea. It's as if you threw a rock into a lake and it made no ripple. You weren't dismissed because your idea was bad. You were dismissed because the language you used to deliver it was weak. You sabotaged yourself. Most people believe confidence is about charisma, a loud voice, or a fancy title. It's not. Confidence is not an addition. It is a subtraction. It is the removal of the language of self-sabotage. Certain words, no matter how intelligent the idea that follows, act like a poison. They infect your statements with uncertainty, apology, and passivity. They give everyone in the room, from your boss to your family, a subconscious permission slip to ignore you. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that our words don't just describe our reality, they create it. Marcus Aurelius taught that the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. But it's the quality of your words that determines the quality of your influence. Strength isn't about finding complex, impressive words. It's about having the discipline to eliminate the weak ones. This isn't about being arrogant, rude, or aggressive. This is about ending the chronic, reflexive habit of undermining your own authority before you've even made your point. It's about building a fortress of credibility, and the first step is to remove the termites. Today, I will show you 6 specific words and phrases that are making you look weak the instant they leave your mouth. The 4th word, in particular, is a favorite among nice people, but it instantly signals to others that you don't value your own time or requests, ensuring you will always be at the bottom of their priority list. If you are tired of being overlooked, if you are ready to stop giving people permission to dismiss you, then let's begin. The first word you must eliminate is a tiny 3-letter assassin. Phrase number 1, just. I'm just checking in. I just wanted to ask. It's just an idea, but I'm just following up. This word is a minimizer. It's a linguistic crouch. It's an apology for your very existence in the conversation. The moment you use just, you are subconsciously communicating that what you are about to say is a small, unimportant intrusion. You are saying, I know you are very busy and important, and I am very small and unimportant. Please forgive me for taking up a sliver of your attention. Think of the difference. A weak email. Hi Sarah, I'm just following up on that invoice I sent last week. This sounds like you're peeking your head around the door, ready to duck if she throws something. You've already positioned your request as a minor annoyance. A strong email. Hi Sarah, I'm following up on the invoice I sent last week. That's it. Same information, completely different power dynamic. One is a request from a peer. The other is a plea from a subordinate. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we must first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you see yourself as an intrusion, you will speak like one. If you see yourself as a professional with a legitimate reason to communicate, you will speak like one. I watched this play out for years with a colleague. Let's call him Tom. Tom was brilliant, but he was a just addict. It's just a quick thought, but what if we reorganized the entire server architecture? I just had one small correction on page 40 of your report. His justs made his massive, valuable contributions feel like tiny, optional suggestions. He was, in effect, telling everyone not to take his own work seriously. When a new executive, Anna, joined, she had the opposite approach. My recommendation is we reorganize the architecture. Send me the corrected report. Tom's ideas were seen as helpful, while Anna's were seen as leadership. Here is what to do instead. The next time you write an email or are about to speak, pause. Find the word just, delete it. Read the sentence again. I just wanted to check on the progress. Becomes, I am checking on the progress. Just think we should go right. Becomes, I think we should go right. It's just my opinion becomes, it is my opinion. The sentence is not only preserved, it is strengthened. You are not just doing anything. You are following up. You are asking a question. You are presenting an idea. own it. There is a difference between humility and self-effacement. Humility is knowing you are not the center of the universe. Self-effacement is acting as if you don't even deserve to be in the universe. Stop justing your way into obscurity. Using just makes you sound small, but the second word makes you sound completely powerless. Phrase number 2. Hopefully. Hopefully, I'll have that report to you by Friday. Hopefully, this project will be a success. Hopefully, we can get this approved. Hopefully is the verbal equivalent of crossing your fingers and closing your eyes. It is a complete abdication of your own agency. When you use this word, you are telling the listener that you have no control over the outcome. You are not the pilot. You are a passenger. You are signaling that your success is dependent on luck, the weather, or the good mood of some unseen force. Let's be clear. A leader, a colleague, a partner. No one wants to hear hopefully. They want to hear a plan. They want to hear intention. Compare these two statements. A weak project manager. Hopefully, we'll hit the deadline. This inspires zero confidence. It tells the team and the stakeholders that there is no firm plan, that problems are not being actively managed, and that failure is a very real possibility. A strong project manager. We are on track to hit the deadline. I will have an update on the final module by Friday. This is the voice of competence. This person has a plan. They are in control. The Stoics built their entire philosophy on the dichotomy of control, understanding what is up to us and what is not. Your effort is up to you. Your plan is up to you. Your commitment is up to you. Hopefully, takes your commitment, which is 100% within your control, and throws it into the not up to me category. It is the language of passivity. Imagine you're on an operating table. The surgeon walks in, looks at you and says, "Hopefully this goes well." You would rightly panic. You want the surgeon to say, "I am prepared. I have a clear plan. I will see you in recovery." Why do you demand this confidence from your surgeon, but not from yourself? I saw this tear a startup apart. One of the co-founders would always say, "Hopefully we'll get funding," or "Hopefully the users will like this feature." The other co-founder, who was the one who actually secured the funding and drove the product, spoke differently. "My plan is to secure funding by Q3. I'm meeting with 3 VC firms next week. This feature is designed to solve X problem for our users. We will measure its success by Y metric." One was praying for success. The other was planning for it. Guess which one the investors and the team listened to? Here is what to say instead. Replace hopefully with words of action and intention. Instead of hopefully, this presentation is clear, say, "I've structured this presentation to be clear. I'm ready for your questions." Instead of hopefully, "I'll see you at the meeting," say, "I will be at the meeting." Instead of hopefully, "This works," say, "I've designed this to work," or "This is the plan." There is one exception: when you are genuinely talking about something outside your control. Hopefully the rain holds off for the picnic. But even then, a stronger person says, "We'll have the picnic. Our backup plan is the covered patio if it rains." Stop hoping. Start planning. Stop broadcasting your passivity. State your intention. Using just makes you small. Using hopefully makes you passive. But the third phrase is perhaps the most insidious, because it's one we are taught to use to be polite, when in reality, it's a silent killer of respect. Using just makes you small. Using hopefully makes you passive. But the third phrase is perhaps the most insidious, because it's one we are taught to use to be polite, when in reality, it's a silent killer of respect. Phrase number 3, the reflexive, sorry. Sorry, can I ask a question? Sorry to bother you, but do you have a minute? Sorry, I just need to get by. This is the language of apology for existing. When you start a normal, reasonable, everyday request with sorry, you are immediately framing yourself as a burden. You are communicating that your need, your question, your presence, your request is an imposition by default. And here's the critical part. People will believe you. If you act like a bother, you will be treated like one. The Stoics prized dignity and self-respect. Epictetus taught that we must own our space in the world. This doesn't mean being entitled or demanding. It means understanding that legitimate communication is not an offense. A need is not an attack. A question is not an act of aggression. Therefore, they require no apology. I learned this the hard way with a new neighbor years ago. His music was rattling my windows at 2 a.m. The first time I went over and said, "Sorry to bother you, man, but it's really late. Would it be possible, if it's not too much trouble, to maybe turn it down a bit?" He said, "Oh yeah, sorry," and nothing changed. Why? Because my language told him my need was optional. I had apologized for having a boundary. My sorry gave him permission to see my request as a weak preference, not a firm line. A week later, at 2:15 a.m., I knocked again. This time I changed the language. "Hi, the music is keeping me awake. I need it off after 11 p.m. I didn't yell. I wasn't aggressive. I was just clear. I stated the fact, it's loud, and my need, turn it off." He looked at me surprised. He said, "Oh, okay," and the music stopped. It never happened again. Same neighbor, same request. The only thing that changed was the removal of one word. One was a plea, the other was a statement. One was ignored, the other was respected. Here is what to say instead. Replace your reflexive apology with a direct, polite statement. Instead of, "Sorry, can I ask a question?" say, "I have a question." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," say, "Do you have a moment?" Instead of, "Sorry, what did you say?" say, "Could you please repeat that?" Now, let's be absolutely clear. Apologies have a critical, powerful place. You must apologize when you have made an actual mistake. "I'm sorry I missed the deadline. I apologize for being late. It won't happen again. I'm sorry, I misunderstood the instructions." Apologize for your faults. Never apologize for your needs. When you reserve sorry for genuine errors, the word regains its power. And when you stop apologizing for your presence, people stop treating your presence as optional. Apologizing for your needs makes you easy to ignore. But the fourth phrase doesn't just make you look weak. It makes you look incompetent. Phrase than before. The preemptive disclaimer. This might be a dumb question, but I'm no expert, but this is probably a silly idea. But the moment these words leave your mouth, you have told everyone in the room to stop listening. You have just broadcasted, "I do not respect my own thinking. Why on earth should anyone else?" This is self-sabotage disguised as humility. You think you're being humble, but you're actually insulting your own intelligence. You are inviting the listener to patronize you. The Stoics valued truth above all else, and questions are the primary tool for finding truth. Socrates built the entire foundation of Western philosophy on asking questions, not by apologizing for them, but by owning them. He knew that an unexamined assumption was far more dumb than any question. When you preface your question by calling it dumb, you've already conceded defeat. You've poisoned the well. I watched this destroy someone's credibility in a high-level strategy meeting. The company was about to sink millions into a new software platform. An executive, a brilliant woman, raised her hand. "This might be a dumb question," she said, "but has anyone actually confirmed that this new system integrates with our old database?" The room went quiet. The COO, who was leading the pitch, smiled a patient, almost fatherly smile. "No dumb questions, Carol. Yes, of course, that's all been handled. It's in the spec." He patronized her, and the group moved on. 20 minutes later, a junior engineer, half her age, spoke up. He didn't raise his hand. He just said, "Hold on. I'm looking at the API spec. The data structures are incompatible. This will not integrate without a 6-month custom build." The room imploded. It was the exact same point. But the first person apologized for her thinking. The second person stated his finding. She was treated like a confused child. He was treated like the expert who saved the company. He didn't say, "I'm no expert." He didn't say, "This is probably silly." He stated what he saw. Here is what to say instead. Just ask the question. Just state your idea instead of, "This might be a dumb question, but what does synergy mean here?" Say, "Can you define what synergy means in this context?" Instead of, "I'm no expert, but I think the timeline is too aggressive." Say, "Based on the data, this timeline seems too aggressive." Or, "My experience suggests this timeline is too aggressive." Instead of, "This is a silly idea, but what if we tried marketing to a new audience?" Say, What if we tried marketing to a new audience? You don't need to preface your contribution. Your contribution is the preface. If you are genuinely outside your area of expertise, it is strong to be specific. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to the legal risk, but from an operational standpoint, this is a problem. That is not a disclaimer, that is a boundary. It's confident and specific. It doesn't say my brain is dumb. It says, my expertise is in this specific, relevant lane. Stop apologizing for thinking. Stop insulting your own curiosity. When you ask a question directly, you are seeking clarity. When you apologize for the question, you are seeking permission to be curious. One is the act of a leader. The other is the act of a permanent follower. Apologizing for your needs makes you easy to ignore. Preemptively disclaiming your ideas makes you sound incompetent. But the fifth phrase is a subtle trap. It sounds considerate, but it actually signals a deep lack of confidence in your own ability to communicate. Phrase number 5. Does that make sense? You've just finished a complex explanation. You've laid out your reasoning, your data, and your conclusion. You get to the end, and then, in a moment of nervous silence, you blurt it out. Does that make sense? This phrase seems helpful. You think you're checking for their comprehension. But what you are actually communicating is, I'm not sure my own thinking is coherent. I'm not confident that what I just said was logical. Please validate for me that I'm not a rambling fool. It's a verbal tick of insecurity. You are shifting the responsibility for clarity from you, the speaker, to them, the listener. The Stoics communicated with intention and clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations to speak, whether in the Senate or to any individual, with propriety and plainness. He didn't then ask, was I plain enough? He trusted his preparation. When you ask, does that make sense? You are subconsciously polling the room for approval of your own thought process, and you give them an easy out. A simple yes or no. If they say yes, it's often just polite. You've learned nothing. If they say no, it's awkward. You've made them feel like they're a bad student, or worse, that they have to tell you your idea was confusing. I learned this from a painful performance review with a former manager. I was explaining a major project I had led. I went through the successes, the challenges, and the final results. At the end, I nervously asked, so, yeah, does that make sense? My manager, who was a brilliant communicator, leaned forward and said, I'm going to stop you. It did make sense. Right up until you asked me if it did. When you ask that, you make me question everything you just said. You sound like you don't believe it. It was a brutal but invaluable lesson. He then told me what to say instead. Here is what to say. Replace the weak, validating question with a strong, inviting one. Instead of, does that make sense? Ask, what questions do you have for me? This is a night and day difference. Does that make sense? Is a closed question that begs for a yes and reveals your insecurity. What questions do you have? Is an open question that assumes your clarity and confidently invites engagement. The first asks for validation. The second invites collaboration. Other strong alternatives. What are your thoughts? What part of that should I clarify? I'd like to hear your perspective on this. Or in many cases, the strongest move is to say nothing at all. Make your point. Stop. Let the silence do the work. Let them be the first to speak. The next time you explain something, end with, what are your thoughts? And then go completely silent. Watch how the quality of the conversation changes. People won't just validate you, they will engage with you. They'll treat your idea as a serious proposal, not a confusing draft. Seeking validation for your own coherence makes you sound uncertain. But the final phrase is the worst of all. It is the language of total surrender before the battle has even begun. Phrase number 6. I think, I feel. I think we should choose option A. I feel like this is the wrong direction. I guess we could try that. These are hedging words. They are verbal padding. You're wrapping your core idea in a thick layer of uncertainty because you are afraid of owning it. You think you're being collaborative and not pushy, but what you're actually communicating is, this is just like my opinion, man. It's not based on fact. It's just a vague notion. Feel free to dismiss it. I think and I feel are appropriate for one thing, stating your subjective, personal, emotional state. I feel sad. That is correct. I think I'll have the chicken. That is also correct. but you must eliminate them from professional assessments, recommendations, and any statement of fact. You've already done the thinking. You've already done the feeling. Now, just state your conclusion. Compare these. A weak team member. I think this deadline is unrealistic. I feel like we don't have enough resources. This is dismissible. It's just your feeling. The manager can say, well, I feel we do, and the conversation is over. A strong team member. This deadline is unrealistic. We are short by 2 engineers to complete the coding by Friday. This is not an opinion. This is a fact. This is an assessment. It cannot be dismissed. It must be addressed. I watched this play out in a family discussion about where to go on vacation. My cousin kept saying, well, I think maybe we could consider going to the beach. I feel like that might be nice. He was met with polite nods, and the conversation moved on. 5 minutes later, my aunt said, we are looking at the mountains or the beach. The beach works for everyone's schedule and is $500 cheaper. We are going to the beach. Guess where we went? My aunt didn't say, I think we should go. She presented her research as a conclusion. She wasn't aggressive. She was decisive. My cousin presented his as a suggestion. One was engaged with. The other was forgotten. Here is what to say instead. Remove the hedge. State your point. Instead of, I think we need to change the strategy. Say, we need to change the strategy. Instead of, I feel like this report is missing some data. Say, this report is missing the Q3 data. Instead of, I guess I'll take the lead on this. Say, I will take the lead on this. This single change will do more for your perceived confidence than anything else. You stop sounding like a child offering a drawing and start sounding like an adult presenting a blueprint. Conclusion. Just, hopefully, sorry. This might be a dumb question. Does that make sense? I think. These 6 phrases are not harmless habits. They are the language of self-sabotage. They are the verbal tics that tell the world you don't believe in your own value. And if you don't, why should anyone else? Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies to your presence. Waste no more time trying to sound confident. Be confident. And it starts by removing the language of weakness. Strength isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about having the quiet discipline to speak with clarity. It's about owning your ideas, owning your needs, and owning your space. You don't need to add anything to your vocabulary. You just need to subtract. Stop justing your way into the background. Stop hoping and start planning. Stop apologizing for your existence. Stop calling your own ideas dumb. Stop asking for validation and start inviting engagement. Stop thinking and start stating. Eliminate these 6 phrases from your vocabulary. Do it for 1 week. Watch how the room changes. Watch how people lean in. Watch how their energy shifts from dismissal to respect. They aren't responding to a new, more aggressive you. They are responding to the real, confident you that was finally allowed to speak. Without apology,